Okay, hello everyone. We've got High in the bottom left here on the Vanguard versus Mr. Cell, who is Wallace, who has mostly been an Infernal player, but he's playing Celestials, and he has been playing quite a bit of Celestials. Gone for that Prism opener. We've got two guys on the Therium. Aurora is chatting in here. What the heck? Armor, that is, on the Aurora account. Get MC back. Wallace isn't good enough. High wants MC back. So we've gone for okay, Chamber, Argent's normal Celestial opener. And we have a Barracks and 3 guys on gas, but we're not overcharging yet. MC was watching these games, okay. So everybody's on edge. They don't want to disappoint the legendary RTS player watching them. So we're going for the racks, but we're not overcharging. We're keeping overcharge. Mechway is going down. Remember, this map is longer, so these Argents take a while to get across the map. Wallace is also, that's interesting, he's not surging his chamber, so these Argents are taking their sweet time to get across the map. You know, we're lacking both of the abilities that speed up the early game. The surge has been delayed, or not used at all, and the overcharge hasn't been used at all. So this is already an interesting game just because of those small variations. I do wonder what all of this surge energy is for. The Argent's already walking back, so they went in there, yeah, they went in there, scouted the lack of a natural. That's all he scouted. He didn't even scout for the hedgehogs. He's just saying, okay, there's no natural. I have my array about to come up. And then we chill, huh? There's the array. First hedgehog is coming out 1 minute 40-ish. Doggo to follow. For some reason there are trees that have been cut here. They've created some sort of Argent, anti-hedgehog Argent tunnel. So as the hedgehogs come in here, they won't be able to fit through this gap or get the Argents in the tree line. So an interesting take on the hedgehog defense. Power bank helping out, keeping these Argents topped up, the ones that aren't shooting his own buildings. And he's run out of juice there. It looks like he's actually turned off that power bank to save some energy. Which is a good idea, because you can get that energy by just shooting your own buildings. High's over here wondering what the heck's going on. High underscore 27, here he comes. He sees a jellyfish, and there are 4 charged Argents there, so even cutting a cool space behind here, he might be able to shoot these. Okay, well he shot himself there a little bit, but he could start shooting the hedgehogs from the high ground. But High, yeah, so he's finally used his overcharge on his main to take a natural expand. He's now... Okay, so he actually sold his racks after a couple of dogs to get his expand up faster. Now he's rebuilding the racks. Another interesting move there, and he's poking up here. He sees there is an anti-hedgehog wall off.
Dimensional risk
The hedgehogs can't get up here, cause too much trouble. One dog does go down for the price of some Argent energy. Actually, no, he didn't even use the energy. But High's quite content with this situation. At this point, Celestials could be on 1 chamber and 3 array and still defend these hedgehogs.
A Stormgate has
Wallace
appeared.
is full on the collection array here, so he's just not using Surge. That's not something that is in his mind to do. And these hedgehogs did siege up. Accidentally, happens to the best of us, especially me. 2 mech bays going up to 2 racks. Argents are kind of very timid, very afraid of the hedgehogs. Does have his full anti-hedgehog wall off. This is how you do it to prevent the hedgehogs from running in and shooting your arrays. He's almost got his Argents here as if the hedgehogs could threaten the array, but of course that's far too far away. And no attempt at the Stormgate. Both players kind of ignoring it until just now. Mr. Cell here, Wallace. Thinking about his next move, thinking, oh, actually that's only 4 hedgehogs and I have a billion Argents. I could probably contest this. Hedgehogs are not very good at consistent damage. They're a skirmishing unit with their burst damage, so they do take the Stormgate in a very miserably slow fashion. You can see here actually the Argents are now denying the Stormgate from High. He is shooting it from the other side, but it's just not going to happen. You see the progression here is shown. The red bar represents the red player, who is Celestials. It's actually going the way of the Argents. Notice that the Argents have their power shot turned off. So just before this timer runs out, it would be wise to even turn the power shot on and claim the Stormgate. But it looks like you can get it without doing that, which is just fine. And you have the Creeping Horror, which excels at slowing down groups of units. And he also has this kind of temporary speed boost where he shrimps off into the distance. Not for too long, but it is enough to kind of save him in most situations. If he starts getting targeted down, you can always just speed him away. Does have a pretty cool movement animation there, skulking along the ground with his big long arm. His other arm doesn't seem to be nearly as long, and he's more or less a three-legged animal. The Creeping Horror. Medtechs are now available. I assume they have Nanoswarm. They run forward to cast Nanoswarm on Argents in the middle of the group. Wallace actually Heaven's stepping them away, and you can see the Creeping Horror there, slowing down the Hedgehogs. He's even zooming him ahead to try and get in another shot, but the Hedgehogs skulk away back into the natural. Argents not the best at dealing damage unless they have their power shot used, and they're not using it obviously. Busts down the turret. Big Heaven step in. Overcharged workers are helping out in this fight. A Vulcan is here, and once he gets charged up, he'll be able to start dealing some serious damage. The workers are munching. The Vulcan is doing some decent damage, now being target fired. Doing its own Heaven step away from the Argents focusing him.
Stormgate will activate soon.
There are some Kree causing trouble. Another Vulcan pops out just in time to start dealing with the Kree that have been left over in the natural. Full hug on the Vulcan here. Heals him back up. This Vulcan trying to escape being focus fire, but he's got nowhere else to go. Creeping Horror is still alive, causing a bit of trouble.
A Stormgate has appeared.
A Vulcan with a hug is ready here. Another Vulcan there, but he can he can do that, and Vulcan dash behind the Argents, and the Vulcans, actually mowing down all of the remaining units here, basically escaping with the Horror and some, well, 3 Argents. Now fully into the Kree. The Kree, as we've all found out after playing Celestials for a while, is a bait. You don't need the Kree, you can just make more Argents. So Wallace, a little bit less experienced, thinking, I need something for these Hedgehogs. I'll make some Kree, but Vulcans absolutely destroy Kree. Whereas they don't absolutely destroy Argents. They do quite well. They're just a very high DPS unit once they get charged up. And for that, of course, they take a few seconds to, they need to attack for a few seconds and then gain damage over time that way. Kree are running into the main here. No wall off or anything for the Vanguard, so doesn't really know when this will happen or if it will happen. Couple of Nanoswarms being cast. Wallace doing quite well at peeling off the unit with Nanoswarm on it. With Heaven Step, which is a great benefit of getting Heaven Step. It makes it so much easier to take the unit in the middle of a pack of Argents out of the engagement. And High hanging on there. He is down in supply a little bit, but he's starting to get these good units. Vulcan Medtech. He's away from the Hedgehog tech now. He is kind of trickling in a few Hedgehogs, but it's mostly Vulcan Medtech that his money's going into. And even one Lancer, which kind of tanks. If you've got one Lancer in the front, it's nice because all the Kree can come crashing in, often wasting their big splash damage on the one Lancer. Wallace up to 3 bases, so he is up a functioning base on the Vanguard, but the Vanguard has the Therium mining as well. And so Mr. Cell, who is Wallace, kind of likes to take it easy. He kind of likes to fall back and chill a lot. Let his opponent also relax. You know, because this could be constant Kree poking and Argent poking. This army without System Shock, even with System Shock, is quite slow. It's the Hedgehogs that provide the army some speed. So once the Hedgehog phase is over, it becomes quite easy to poke in and out with Argent Kree. Nanoswarm's being cast on some units, which is like a death sentence for the unit it's on, but also provides some splash damage. So Wallace, you can see, is trying to mitigate the damage these nanoswarms are doing. And here comes 4 Vulcans, so that's a very healthy number of Vulcans with nanoswarm on them, keeping them healed. Obviously it's a match made in heaven, Vulcan plus nanoswarm. The unit that just stands there and does a lot of damage. Oh, this is an interesting move. Animancer invis onto all of the units and then running up and trying to snipe down the Vulcans. He does get a few of them. There's just 2 left, but they're all charged up now and angry. And looks like we've kind of run out of steam here for Mr. Wallace. You can see these anchoring Vulcans are the key for victory here. The nanoswarms are great too, but the main thing is a decent Vulcan count. That's the only kind of unit that Vanguard has that can just stand there, deal damage, tank damage. You can see even without nanoswarm, the Sovereign's Watch has been on this Vulcan this whole time. He's only now down to below health. We do have an evac, so we can micro if one of the Vulcans get really low. You can just pick him up. And the 3rd array from Wallace is being threatened. There is a 4th array. High behind this getting his 3rd command post up. Already has 9 workers on that. One of these sensor drones scouting up to this base, and the benefit of that is you also see this base. So High knows exactly what's up. A lot of abandoned homeless prisms without an array to call home. We'll start mining the Therium. Archangels are the choice for Wallace. He's also getting Dark Prophecy up, so his Animancers can be a lot more useful. But for the moment, it doesn't look too healthy. He's only 5 supply down, Mr. Wallace. He does have his 3rd array there as well, so it's not... doesn't look on the face of it terrible, but this composition is growing for the Vanguard. If you can grow these high-tech units, the Vulcans, the Medtechs, get energy on them, all of a sudden you're looking quite healthy. Vulcan dashes forward, cuts the trees, very nice. Stormgate is given up, so this could be some Soul Forges to copy the Archangel, or it could be a fun unit. The array is lifted. We don't have much to shoot up here, so the array will probably survive this. Morphcore is floating over to try and build another array as well, but yeah, Wallace is definitely getting into that situation where his array got denied here shortly after this array gets denied, so he's only got the 1 mining base. We've actually mined out in the main. High hasn't quite mined out in the main, but that means he will soon. So just the 1 mining array, that's not a great amount of Luminite coming in for poor Wallace, and he is building this, but arrays do take quite a long time now. So he's floating up to 2000 Therium, and there isn't like a very heavy Therium sink for the Celestials. Everything that costs a lot of Therium also costs a lot of Luminite. Even Animancers, Archangels, Cabals, they also cost a significant amount of Luminite. So this resource distribution is not very healthy. It looks like we did get the Soul Forge from the Stormgate there. So there are now 4 Angels where we last saw only 1, and Wallace just doesn't have the economy to get more than this. Big crashdowns coming in. So even though his economy got cooked, he did get the Stormgate. 3 cop, he says, armor. Commenting on the fact that there are now all of these Archangels posing a significant threat for High, who now all of a sudden looks like he's in big trouble. Invising the Archangels forward.
A Stormgate will activate soon.
Starts to put down some pressure. So now all of a sudden there's a huge supply lead for Wallace, who, as I say, had only that 1 mining array. He's now got this one, and he's landed this one again, so up to 3 arrays. But mined out in the natural, not lifting up this main array or using the prisms for anything either. Let's have 3 prisms join that array, so back up to 1.5 mining bases. High still has some Luminite on his natural, has his 3rd base mining, and is moving on over to take the 4th base. Remember, Vanguard can't sell the command posts, the high commands, their town halls basically, but he can sell, you know, some of these excess buildings if he wants to, especially like a barracks or something, but you never know, maybe you're going to want double medtech production in the future. So we'll see how this game ends up. There is a Stormgate quite far away from any action, and you don't really want to go there. But we do have Hornets. Hornets are very good at killing prisms. There we go, killing some prisms. Atlas dropping on this island base. Sovereign's Watch comes in, but a little bit too late to do anything. One base goes down pretty free, pretty clean for Wallace. Wallace in this meantime was just regaining the energy and health back on his Archangels. He's doing a big play here. He's got his Animancers invised up. His whole army is invis. High is none the wiser. Crashes, well, not really crashes. Casts the Dark Prophecy, which mostly hits himself, but he does get some decent damage there, obviously. On top of High's army. Animancer casting Dark Prophecy quite nicely, catches a lot of the army, but Nanoswarm for the most part will negate the Dark Prophecy damage. You need other stuff as well. High trying to get out of the situation, because you can't have these Archangels on top of your army. They need to be zoned out by the Hornets. Should be some Sky Mines or something. There's one Sky Mine. We're going back into that. It hits the Archangels, who are now very slow, and we turn around, start shooting them. Medtechs have been peeled off to the side there. Atlas is being dropped down. Ramparts coming in and applying their buff to some of the Medtechs. Cell OP, says Aurora. That's armor, of course. It's not looking great for our Vanguard player. The Soul Forgers are definitely a problem. Even Wallace agreeing, saying yeah. It should be noted that what he did is banned in tournaments. You cannot clone your Archangels, you cannot clone tier 3 units. So that would not be allowed in a tournament. He would have to clone something else. Animancers might be a choice. Wallace and Armor yapping in the middle of this intense game, but High is not leaving. He says, I've still got some tricks up my sleeve. He's only down 60 supply, let's call that. He's got these two bases mining. Wallace now figured out the tech where he can lift his arrays. He's even lifted his natural array. Don't know where the main one went. Oh, there it is, floating, I'm guessing. Okay, he's trying to reclaim his island base.
A Stormgate will activate soon.
Wallace taking a breather, trying to heal up his army. He's surging his Arc Fortress. But High is actually mining. He's got two bases fully mining. Even the Therium's getting mined.
A Stormgate has
15
appeared.
workers on this Therium. We have a lot of Hornets, a couple of Sky Mines being dropped just to try and zone out. If the Archangels run through here to try and crash down on this army, High will be there. Doesn't look like we have Atlases in that one, but we have a tier 3 evac, so we've put some promotes on that. It's very fast. And no Cabals in this army, you know, so yeah, okay, cloning even more Archangels here. Just poking around, seeing if you can get some nice Atlas shots. Never hurts to do that. Big invis play again. Sky Mines, some of them connecting. This does pose a problem. Nice little split off there from that one Archangel, so the damage was avoided on the splash. Dark Prophecy tries to catch the Hornets, but just kind of whiffs. Close though. Atlas is coming in. Big ramp engagement here. High saying, smell you later, speeding away. Getting more bombs off on these Archangels. You see the Archangels not really able to connect. Two of them just went down there. More bombs coming in. Archangels landing, saying, okay, I don't like being on the ground anymore. This doesn't feel right. But what is there to hit the ground? It's the double Atlas. Atlas is coming in, Archangel's going into Avatar. High says, smell you later. He's just kiting back his entire army, getting the Atlas shots off. Nanoswarm keeping him topped up, so he's getting chipped away a bit, but he's not really losing all that much. Big Atlas shots right there. Atlas is being focus fired onto the big ball of Argents, and actually Wallace, desperately trying to catch the evac, is unable to. One Atlas doesn't get back into the evac, but there's still one in there. And Wallace kind of throwing away a lot of his supply lead there. Medtech's kind of stuck here. High turns around for them. Oh, he lands the Archangels in front of the Hornets. Loses one Archangel immediately. Remember, Archangels are extremely expensive. Granted, Wallace is getting a lot of them for free. The Archangels, sorry, the Animancers are kind of separated from the rest of the army here. High says, I don't really fancy getting hit in the face by 7 Dark Prophecies, so he's just, again, kind of mobilizing his entire army over and over again whilst getting the Atlas shots in. And the poor Celestial player is chasing and getting hit in the face repeatedly. Hornets now coming in. Sovereign's Watch cast on the Sky Mines, but the array goes down. There's another array here that has been spotted by a sensor drone, and that's exactly where the Hornets are going. So trading out 1 base for 2 here is Mr. High. Unable to save any workers, but as I say, he lost 2 bases for the 1. This base untouched for Wallace. So he's back down to 1 mining array. The Stormgate now being contested by Wallace. Have managed to put another Atlas into the evac. You can see just how important this Atlas damage is. High thinking about coming in here and dropping some Atlases onto the army. Gets, yeah, pretty decent hits there. Atlas, yep, claiming an Animancer. And what do we get from the Stormcaller? Okay, I mean, I'm not a big fan of this decision from Wallace because High is refusing to engage. Oh, no cancel there, so lost 450 resources. High is refusing to engage the army head on. I don't quite like this positioning. The dog is there to see invisibility, so the dog is necessary just to make sure we don't run into too much invis nonsense. Loses a couple of Hornets there, just happens to walk past the entire army. No real reason to suspect Wallace would be right there with his entire army. There is an argument to just run away from this and sell all the buildings, but looks like... Yep. Managing to engage the Stormcaller is down. It doesn't cause friendly fire, thankfully, otherwise Wallace would be killing himself right now. But able to engage a little bit there is the Wallace. Atlas is getting some shots in. Running away from the Stormcaller, as I say, High is mostly just avoiding the fights. Gets an Archangel there on the back. Some rallied units just saying hello. And not focusing too hard on using the medtechs or anything. We're just trying to move away from the main army, drop the Atlases. Nice shots there, very nice. Kind of a shame we don't have the Atlas upgrade here. Nanoswarm being cast on the evac as well, so even though it almost died there, it's already getting some reasonable health. Going to the next ramp. Dropping the Atlases. Oh wow, the range on this guy. He's got 2 veterancy, so he's actually got an extra 2 weapon range, and you could really feel that there. That was crazy. Sky Mines here, making sure Wallace doesn't have this base. Also Sky Mines here, making sure Wallace doesn't have that base. So the Sky Mines being used. Some nice scouting here. If Wallace ever takes the array there, then he kind of has to sit there and defend it. Arc Fortress is out and about. In a very precarious situation. I would not want my Arc Fortress here. Picks up the Atlas as he knows what's about to happen. Units being invised forward. We do cast Nanoswarm on a unit, and Wallace brutally executes it. You can see the power of this composition from High here. He's found a way to play against the late game Celestial composition. Atlas drop, Nanoswarms, and Hornets.
A Stormgate has appeared.
Is the name of the game. There it is. Big shots coming in once again. The Archangel in the front there just went down. And now this is an army that cannot touch Atlas Drop. So yeah, High realizing this says, okay, I'ma just go chase that, getting some much needed veterancy on these Atlases, giving them even more range and making this harass even more brutal. Dark Prophecy's trying to zone the Hornets from just killing that Arc Fortress, trying to zone the Evac from just dropping and killing. But this army from Celestials, Argent Animancer, just gets absolutely blasted. Excuse me, by Atlas Drop. And yeah, now we're up to some insane range. +3 range, 19 range on a siege unit. And GG is called after all that yapping about Celestials being overpowered from both armor and Wallace. All of a sudden, Vanguard steals the win. The Vanguard won this game, and that's surprising. Yeah. There it is, the comeback. The Atlas Micro, Hornets Nanoswarm. The Exodia comp. 19 range is insane on these units. So 18 for that one, 19 for this one. In a dropship that has insane speed. I'll have a look at the speed as well. Oh, it actually has to drop. So the movement speed of this unit, the critical micro intensive dropship, 8.9. So we'll just call that 9. This unit gets veterancy and increases its movement speed by 10% per veterancy, as well as health, which is something you want. You know, it's hard to focus fire this thing down. It's got 10 armor and almost 400 health. And this thing has 500 health and 10 armor again. So 10 armor is roughly 10% damage reduction, so we can call this like 550 health Atlas, 19 range, and obviously very good damage. 156 versus heavy, and 156 versus structure as well. The 19 range victory, very nice play, and I'm glad I saw this replay because this may not work against the top cells because I think Cabals can lock down the dropships, or just I think Animancer zoning could have been a bit better there. But even still, like, at least you have a chance, right? You have a heavy micro interaction where players can make mistakes. The Hornets being part of the composition is super nice for Vanguard because Celestials don't really get to defend their bases all that well anymore, so, you know, array here kept on getting killed, array here kept on getting killed. This slow-ass Animancer Argent composition isn't able to run around the map and defend the bases from the Hornets. And the Hornets, when you mass them up, do start to threaten the arrays very well. And even before that, the Prisms, which are very expensive and very critical for Celestials to have, are being threatened. So yeah, very nice play. High versus Wallace. Wallace seeing that there are some frustrations left for Celestial players, even though he was like up 50% supply for most of this game, sometimes like 100, 150 supply lead, still able to completely throw it. And you can see that by the cat and mouse chasing. Wallace was just like running through the base, chased him all the way up here the entire time, getting shot by 2 Atlases, which was slowly and sneakily getting more range and damage the entire time. So there it is. Well played to both players. Hope everyone enjoyed this game, and I'll see you next time. Like and subscribe. Almost forgot.